Welcome to Konfidence with Katheleen, hosted by me, Katheleen Diggle.
Hey, welcome everyone. Before that episode, I just need to talk a little bit about my life. Usually I was doing more podcasts, doing more video, and for a little, like I will say, like 3 months, I had some health issue a little bit. Long story short, this summer we'll just learn that where we live, me and my daughter, we will have to move, and it was in a short day, so we start looking for houses and things like that, and it was a lot. So for the paper, and so I put a lot of time in it. I was still working, going on the road and doing all the things, and I stopped, like, maybe taking that time for me, like what I used to relax myself. And so because we had so many things to do, but then I start, like, in September, start feeling very more like tired, um having a lack of energy. I was good to work, but at the end of the day, it was more after that to have the energy to do the other things. So, and I start even like being like a little bit more, I was crying more, feeling more sensitive, and I didn't understand what was going on, because usually I used to listen to my body, to listen how I'm feeling, but I was not able. I was, maybe I'm just tired, but after a few days of trying to relax, I didn't find my energy back. So it lasts for almost 3 months like that, and I was more going down, and it was more hard for me to find my energy back. And then one of my friends sent me a documentary about men's. It was in Canada, but it was about men that have problem with their testosterone because their hormones changed. They were getting older, and everything changed in their body, and they didn't understand themselves. And I really recognize myself in those men, even if I'm not a man. So I start make some research more about it, and I have all the symptom about when your hormones or when things like that are unbalanced. But for me, I'm very sensitive of taking hormones because I already tried, but it was worse. So I start to make some research to try to find someone that can approach and help me to in more in a natural way. And that's where I found Mary Katherine. So she's like 5 minutes from my place. And I went to see her. I explained her, and she was so listening to me, and explained me everything. And we did different things. But she's our next guest, and she will really explain you everything, because again, I'm not a nurse too, and with my English, it's better if it's her. So I really ask her, and she accepts. I'm so exciting um, to talk about it, and I really hope uh, that can help someone that feel like that, because you will see we can she compare a lot of things that we are doing on horses, but we don't do it on ourselves, and that can really help you to be to feel better, to be better, but to be better for your horse too, and to understand all those therapy that you're doing on the horse, how it can benefit on you too. I hope you will enjoy that podcast. Hey, welcome, Mary Katherine. Before we start, can you present a little bit yourself and your background, and why, I just talked before a little bit that you are my specialist and even my lifesaver. I'm feeling that. So, can you talk about your background?
For sure. So I'm a nurse practitioner, board certified family. I have taken several certification classes for functional medicine and have been in various departments. First, orthopedic spine when I graduated school in 2008, and then did hormones and wellness treatments and functional medicine now, as well as emergency medicine. My passion, like you've experienced with me, is functional medicine. getting back to the roots of the cause of what's happening, why, and just really discovering that. And part of that was driven by my mother. She had multiple body problems, rashes, belly pain, joint pain, and I even personally took her to specialists, and nobody could help her. Everybody kept throwing more medicines at her. The next specialist would throw another medicine at her, and still not any resolution to her problems. She recently passed away about a year and a half ago, and that really is what just lit the fire underneath me to try to help others and try to identify a cause, because medications may not always be the answer. And so, that's really what's driven my personal drive, is because no one could help her. So that's why I'm here today.
And I'm very grateful for you. I'm just very feeling that you are a lot of answer, because I'm feeling I'm not the only one like that has maybe a level, or like my cortisol was too high because of the stress that I had in the past month, but that affect all my hormones, all my system, and I was so like exhausted. I was able to work, like I was
Right.
saying, I was able to work, I was able to do what I need to do, but more than that, I was out, like
Right.
tired, and even I was thinking that I was a little bit depressed, but at the end, it wasn't. I was like, I'm not depressed.
Right.
So, what? How do you like? If I arrive to your place, how can you help me, and what do you do for that to find what is my problem, and or you prefer to do first? And
Well, first is truly listening to you. Like, how can I help you? Because I'm really here to empower you for your health. And there's many ways we can do that. Of course, I do believe in medicines and prescriptions, but I think that's not always the answer for most of us. A lot of it stems in our gut. We are not getting the nutrients that we need from the foods, or either we're not eating the right foods. And so coming down to our inner side, makeup and say, what am I missing? And so with the functional medicine world, usually that's thinking about sensitivities, like what am I sensitive to that's causing me internal inflammation? So one of those would be like a food sensitivity test. What foods are causing internal inflammation that can lead to issues? And a simple example would be my daughter. She's adopted, and she had lots of gut and bloating, and just was more abrupt with her voice. And so we did a food sensitivity test in chicken and eggs. How many Americans eat chicken and eggs? And so that was high inflammation, but it didn't cause a rash. It didn't cause her trouble breathing, but you could tell that when we ate more of it, it caused her more internal issues, constipation, bloating, gas. Now we eat it, but maybe once a week, and she's happier. Her attitude is better. She doesn't have constipation, and we don't have to give her like a laxative, instead of just treating, the food. Others would be deficiency. What are we deficient in? And so that's when I, for you, tested vitamins. Like, what vitamins are we deficient in? So that then we can replace those with either foods or the right type of vitamins. And then sensitivities, um, deficiencies, and then that's when we're looking at your blood work. Like, what else can we be looking at? The big one in America is vitamin D. How many of us do not get enough vitamin D because we're either not outside enough, or we have long sleeve clothes on, or our body just doesn't absorb it appropriately? And so vitamin D can lead to depression. Vitamin D in humans can lead to like joint pains, or the first few steps in the morning, I hurt. And then vitamin D also helps with our hormones. So if we don't have enough of that, now we're already leaning into our hormones. Same thing with B12 is another big one. If you're not getting a right B12, which is hard to get from food, some of us take the wrong form of B12. And so we can do specific testing to know which type is best for your makeup. So,
okay.
That's really looking at those three things: is what symptoms are you having? Where do we think it's stemming from? And then trying to look from a nutritional standpoint or deficiency for you.
I'm feeling that makes me laugh when you talk about all those vitamin or everything like that, because I'm feeling horse people. We all want, and even the one that call me, because they want to have their horse feeling their best.
Right.
And very first thing that they do, it will be a blood test to see what they need, or to adjust their food, to do everything. We horse people, we all put our money, our time to try to help the horse, but we can do the same thing for us.
Yes, you're right.
and
You're right.
and I'm always say to take care of yourself first, but it's things that sometimes we think that we do good eating well, but if we just that blood test for me, because I was even telling you, oh, I'm not that stressed, but oh, I can say shit, you know, when
Right.
you got the result, I was like, holy.
Well, and part of that is giving you numbers or markers that you know what you're doing is helping. And so,
Or not, yeah.
we as moms or as pet owners, horse owners, anything like that, we want to take care of everybody else and then we'll worry about us later because we don't have time for that.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're not in that optimal stage, then how are we going to help them to be optimal as well? And so, same thing for the horse owners. If you use red light on your horses, you believe in it. You believe in the inflammation. You believe in the recovery of red light. Why are we not doing it on humans? And so that is one thing we offer there too.
You
is
have
red light,
one too, yeah. And another test too, before we go on, all because you offer so many things, but you have another test too, because I have some friends that they were there, went to see you for that test too, because it goes a little bit deeper. Does that make sense?
Correct.
So can you talk a little bit about it more?
Sure. So that's the DNA methylation
DNL,
test you're
okay.
talking about. And that is really to identify, do we have the right gene makeup? And that test never changes. That is your genetic makeup.
You
And
do
so
it
never once in a
once.
lifetime. And it tells you if you have a certain break in those 5 genes identified. And if you do, there are different supplements that we can help you with in the right form. Because if that cycle is not working, you have buildup of cellular waste. And so you need certain vitamins to help that cycle continue. And the most common one people talk about is the MTHFR. And that's the big one that helps you with folic acid, folate, B12. And so if you're not getting the right form, then that leads to other things, from anxiety to ADHD to gut issues to sleeping problems. And so simple things that everybody complains about may be alleviated, if that's their only issue, with maybe just giving them methylcobalamin or adding magnesium. And so simple things like that definitely can be evaluated. And then even fertility, for women, if you're trying to conceive, we need to make sure you have the right pathways working appropriately, because as you know, neural tube defects and things like that can be affected by certain vitamins.
Vitamins. That's very fun that we can know a little bit more, but I'm just feeling that sometimes we don't take the time. So, okay, so I went to see you, you had my result, you called me back. I was like, okay, fuck, I need to do something. So, and I went back to, because for me it was easier because you can just do it on the phone
We
too.
can't do it on the phone.
You can do it on the phone, but for me, it was easier for me to go in person because I didn't understand those terms. I don't use them all the time.
Correct.
So for my French part, it was easier in person, but then you helped me and we set up like all the plans. So you do that with everyone too.
Correct. And I can operate outside of a few states. I'm based in Texas, but I do have multiple state license. If there are other states that I don't personally have a license in, we do work with somebody else that she can always contact you. If it is in a different state, she can operate in many other ones that I cannot. And so we do have a team that could help you wherever you may be. We just really want to empower you to know what you should be doing. And then usually follow up in about 3 months after you initially start the plan, because that's enough time for you to, one, get the vitamins where you're going to get them from, two, start actually taking them consistently. Most time you already feel better by then, but you're already getting in that routine and you're empowered by then, because you're driven to just want to feel at your best. And you're paying attention to your sleep, you're starting to do your own recovery, whether that's breath work or yoga, meditation, whatever that may be. You're now empowered because you understand why you need to take them, and you're driven by some of those data points as well, which for most of us, we want to take all these vitamins because we're like, we know they're healthy, but are we taking the right form? Are we taking the right amount? Because the amount on the back of the bottles are not always the recommended ones. Those were developed many years ago just to prevent disease. And so for us, we're not trying to prevent disease with these vitamin levels. We want to be living optimally. And so our levels of like multivitamins are way different than what are just on the back of the bottles.
Okay, so but that's why and you are very good. I'm just saying that I'm grateful again for you because you really take your time, and I didn't feel, even if it was more hard sometimes to understand, but you were not rushing me. You really take your time to explain me and to really like, okay, that's what we will do first. That and what I appreciate with you too, you are not there to sell me something. I really felt each time that you were there really to help me. So
Well,
thank you
Well,
for
thank you.
that. But so if I'm in another state, if I understand correctly, if I'm on another state, I can contact you, and then you will send me to do the
Correct.
blood test another place. But then if you are able to in that state, or if not, you have a team that can
Correct.
help you, but you will call them back and do like all the
Correct.
follow-up and explain like. So that's amazing, because I have friends from other state right now. I just think about one that I talked with him about my experience, and he was like, okay, shit, Kathleen, I need to do that too.
Yes.
And now I will give him your phone number.
And so for me, I am in multiple states. I have Illinois, Minnesota, Iowa, Washington, Wyoming, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Florida. And so those are my primary states. But I have a good friend that I'm also her supervisor in her state, and she is great with functional medicine as well. So that's who I partner with. That if it's in New York, I would just get with her and then say, hey, this is who I've been talking to. Let's get together. And we may even Zoom together, but we can definitely work something out so that we can help everybody.
What about Louisiana?
I would have to check with her, but I want to say most of the states all have a compact nursing license.
Okay.
So as long as those are all fine, that we could definitely get in touch.
Well, we need to
or
talk.
Maybe they need to drive to see us. Louisiana,
Yeah.
straight over.
Perfect. And so, and after that, that blood test or the other test too, you have the result. But I know that because you are located in Brook, and you offer different, like you were talking about the red light therapy. So, and you offer other things too. But talk about the red light therapy. What is the benefit of it for human, for me, because you really suggest me to do it a couple times, and so can you, it depends, talk to.
Sure. So I have the full body red light, which are 2 pads. And so you'll get in the 2 pads, so it's hitting the bottom of your body as well as the top. And so whatever the light is touching is what it's working on. And so usually for ladies, they're either in their bra or panties, or they have a bathing suit, or you don't have to wear anything, whichever you feel comfortable, and you're in your own private room. And so with that, usually after about 10 to 12 minutes is when the red light is really doing its thing. And what it's doing for many people, it is one, for me personally, that's like my stress reliever. I just get in there and it just makes me just feel calm. And so for you, that's what I would be talking about, is that cortisol level. We need to just have some you time, because you are so busy helping everybody else. But if you're not one with yourself, then it's hard for you to help other people. And then it also helps with inflammation. So I have a few clients that have like a torn glute muscle, or they have an injured leg, that when they're doing that, that's helping with that acute injury and inflammation, swelling. Then for the anti-aging and beauty property part of it, because it's helping with that, the red light is penetrating a few inches, that it's helping with those fat cells, helping with trimming. And by doing that, it's increasing that fibrin and collagen, which then is helping with wrinkles and skin and freckles and all of those things. And so it really is a multifaceted, therapy that you can use. For you personally, though, it's probably just you are so busy all the time that this is like your you time, just to come in a quiet place. And while you do red light, we can also add brain tapping, which is meditation. And so you can meditate. That most people will fall asleep while they're doing the red light. And then after red light, we recommend you getting on a vibration plate to just further help those nerves and blood vessels and lymphatic systems drain and get more optimal. And so it's truly like a whole holistic treatment to help with all that. But you use it on your horses, right?
Yes, but that's what I was saying. Is it so? Is the vibrate plate, is it the same function that we use on the horse?
Correct. The horse is same thing, right? You're trying to increase their blood vessels, you're increasing their nervous system, you're helping their lymphatic drainage. You can even work out on some of those vibration plates for recovery purposes. So same thing that we all spend millions of dollars on for our horses over the years. Why are we not getting on them, right?
Yeah. So that makes the same thing. And so,
because if you think about it, horses are mammals just like we are, right? So those same things that they have issues with, a lot of times we have issues with. And a lot of the vitamins are still interchangeable because we're all mammals, right?
Yeah. And you talk about injury, but I know that you have different things too to really help for someone that has different injury too. So can you?
So one would be, we do have cold plunge. So if you have an acute injury, I know you love cold plunge, right? So some of us would jump in our swimming pools right now In Texas, they're not as cold as people that live up north, but that cold shock helps with recovery. But more people are doing it now for that biohacking of it's rejuvenating us. It is helping with that stress system. It's helping with the nervous system. It helps with the vessels. And so it helps with multiple things. And after that, we always tell you to get in the sauna. And same thing, there's lots of benefits from the sauna. And most of those kind of overlap. And that's what a lot of us are calling the biohacking world, because we used to know all this stuff, right? Most of us used to jump in the cold ponds, or most of us would go barefoot outside to ground. And our sauna does have a grounding pad in there. And so you don't have to use all these fancy equipments. We can really be doing it at our house, even here. Take your shoes off, go touch the ground, go get one with the earth instead of, going to the grounding mats and things like that. But most of us don't have time. So we can have, equipment to do that. We also do localized cryo treatment. So if you have an elbow injury, we can do cryo just like we do on horses. And we do horses as well.
You do horses as well.
You can do just more wellness. And so if you want a facial for the cryotherapy, that's called a Frotox. And there's like 4 different things that we do with the cryo machine for facials and wrinkles and different things. And so those would be the main ones that we do. We also have PMF.
Yes, that's what I was.
You guys have that too. So ours is a mat that you can sit on or lay on, and it has the infrared light in it. It has some crystals in it, which have the purpose of like the grounding as well. And then if you have an injury, we can hook a TENS unit up to it as well. So those would be our biohacking or wellness and restorative devices to help you.
And right now, with video, okay, I'm engaged myself. I will do the cold plunge. I'm doing it, and I will try all your different things, and I will make a video each time just to prove. I'm not sure how long I will stay, but I will do it. I just said I'm doing it.
Y'all heard that, right? She is coming to do each of those.
No, but I wanna, because right now I really feel that life like this summer, not that I forget myself, but I just put too many things. And yes, I put my need a little bit on the side because I have to deal with everything. So, and that create me, and I want to live for maybe another like 60 years old, 50 more years, and I want to be healthy too. So I'm better do it there than later too, because like I was telling you too, because I really feel like sometimes people, they don't talk enough about the effect of the hormones when we get older, even on women and even on men. So there's different things like that that can affect us, that change our energy, that change our life. But that doesn't mean that we get old, we cannot do our things. It's just that we need to adapt to our body that change. But when we are not used that internal change, that's my point of view, because I'm really listening to myself, and I'm really listening to my body and ask him what he wants to eat or things like that. And when I'm doing that, I'm feeling good. But there was something else that changed, that I almost like feel sometimes that I was losing control. But knowing now, I'm like, okay, now I was not that far, but now you are my tools to help me to feel better. But I will do the other one too. But you have something else too that I want to try. It's like the IV, you offer all those things too.
We do. So we do offer IV vitamins. You can just sit the saline if you feel like you're only dehydrated, but we do offer vitamins within that as well. And that's mainly because we can't absorb it a lot by our gut, especially if we have not got the gut right. We're just taking vitamins and we'll either urinate them out or we'll have a stool. And so getting them in the IV a lot of times will help you absorb them better, because there's not anything in its way for absorption. It is going directly in the blood. Now, you will still excrete some of those out, whatever your body doesn't need, but the likelihood to absorb them is higher than just taking it by mouth. And then in addition to that, we have recently started ozone therapy as well.
And we have that therapy for horses too. So that's why when you talk about it, I'm like, okay, I didn't know there was able for human too. But
correct. And so there's another example, like, why are you've been doing it for your horses?
Yes.
And all your trainers and everybody that you help, but why are we not doing it for, the jockeys or for the horse trainers or for the owners? Because you believe in the science behind it, or you wouldn't be doing it for your horses. And so why are we not doing it on our bodies as well? But yes, we offer that. And even simple ones that we put on as a headphone for ozone. When we get that sinus congestion, instead of going for an antibiotic or instead of going for decongestants, come just do an ozone for sinuses. And it's just headphones that go in your ear and you sit there for 5 minutes and then that same thing, right? It is helping in a natural way instead of taking prescriptions, instead of taking, over the counter supplements that some even cause you to have like heart racing and different things.
So,
yes.
and like the ozone, you were explain me if I understand correctly too. Correct me if I was not. But if you do that, like in the IV and things like that, that help to clean yourself.
Correct. So that is really going systemically. You can do it rectally, vaginally, or IVs, and that's getting the ozone everywhere. And by doing that, that's reducing that internal cellular stress, which all of us have, whether that be from lifestyle, things we consume, to chronic diseases. Because a simple way of even thinking of inflammation, that's oxidative stress, cellular stress, high blood pressure, cancer. Many of those things boil down to those cells internally are disrupted. And so that's another way, to be doing that. And we have other supplements too that help with that as well. So if you are not local and you can't do ozone, there are some even plant-based supplements that we use to help with oxidative stress. And one is called Protandem. And so there are many different ways to reduce that oxidative stress. So give us a call and we can try to help you with what is the right one for you, what is the right dosing, all of that.
Okay. And then, but if you do with the IV or things like that locally that I'm going, how many times do you need to do that? Is it something that you need to do regularly, or after a couple times, your body not clean? Because I'm feeling we put our stress all the time on ourselves, but how it works really?
So usually we go off of depending upon what you're having. So if you've just recently had a surgery or you're recovering from something, usually you would come 2 times a week for a couple weeks, and then we go about twice a month, and then we could probably go monthly. If you have like Lyme disease or lupus or something chronic, then you do want to go a little closer together for a few weeks. And usually that 4 to 6 session is that happy mark, and then we start spacing it out. And part of that is we use different levels of gas depending upon what we're treating. And so some of us can be a little more sensitive to it. And so if you had like lupus, you've had this chronic disease and you're going through those phases of pain and disturbance, that we're going to start on a lower dose compared to a higher dose. And we gradually over a few sessions will then go higher. So then we can really detox you. But if we go to a high gas right away, then you're going to feel like you have the flu because that body is truly detoxing. Well, then you're less likely to come back to me because you felt horrible instead of feeling a little better. And so truly we have to be sensitive
So,
with how you're feeling and making sure you don't have that flu-like symptom, because you won't want to come back for a few more treatments if you always feel bad. But
yeah.
that's a good sign too, because that means, hey, we're detoxing
So,
and getting improvement, right? But none of us like to feel bad.
no, I know, and but sometimes you need to go that stage to get better after that. So perfect. Do you have other services that we didn't talk about yet, or?
I do have a lady that is starting to do massage
Mm-hmm.
as well as the Reiki energy. And so that is also just balancing. And of course, that is more like what you do with your horses. And so if you're using you for their horses, why not get that energy balance or chakra balance in alignment with your personal self as well?
Okay, so all I'm feeling like all the owner or the rider like that has a lot of stress, or and even me, I'm always saying sometimes like, okay, your horse really feel your energy. So if you are unbalanced, if you are stressed, or so I talk a lot about chakra too, but
Right.
it's easy, there's exercise, but you have that lady, so it's another thing too that
It is.
I will try to.
Well, and then part of it is
Yeah.
just listening. Like you've done really well listening to yourself. But how many of us wake up with joint pain and we think it's just normal because we're 40, right?
Hmm.
But that's not okay. Like there must be something causing inflammation. That may be simply just doing the food sensitivity test and avoid those foods and then see how your joints feel. Same thing with hormones. Even though, most of us in the medical world are guilty of saying, oh, your labs are normal. But in the functional medicine world, there's usually an optimal level. And so where are we within that optimal level instead of just checking the boxes? So even if you've had your labs done recently, bring those to us or email them to us and let's talk about them, because there's probably something that is not optimal, but it's within those normal lab values that maybe we can improve for energy or for muscle recovery. Even a family member of mine just called me the other day and said, I've been doing CrossFit and I'm feeling great, but I'm sore. I'm so sore. And every day I'm sore. What can I take? Well, for her, I increased her growth hormones. We also talked about amino acids, just getting those right recoveries in there for our muscles. And so simple things like that may just be like add something else to you. It doesn't have to be this grandiose plan. And that's also what I try to help you with. So I don't want to spend tons of money with you, but I want you to feel empowered. So what are the 5 most important things and what else is just extra? Because we can do so much to have so many tools in our toolkit, but what is realistic? If you're not going to spend 5 vitamins, then let's not do that. But let's talk about what's the most important ones. And then next month we can add the other ones if we need to. And so I truly care about thinking about you too. And what are you going to be consistent with? Because I can recommend 20 different supplements, but if you're not going to be consistent with it,
Yeah, you
then,
need to.
what's the
Like
point?
even for me, I told you, had experience with the hormones, it was with cream, but I, I, I felt so bad after that. And for me, it was really not a good experience. I had to stop everything. So, but when I went to see you, I told you that, but yes, you offer you can do like cream or injection
Correct.
or everything with the hormones to help with the blood test. But for me, that's why I went to see you too.
Sure.
It's because you offer an alternative of the hormones.
Correct.
So for me, I don't want, I'm not saying that I won't try it again another, maybe, but if it works naturally, but that was for me. I'm not saying that it's not good. Does that make sense?
Correct.
It was just for my point of view, for listening to myself, that I'm really feeling that it was not good. But I cannot wait to really, like, in 3 months, to have like my blood tests and to see again how it works.
And like one, like we talked about, was DHEA. That is a vitamin that you can even get that helps your body make more. And so there are natural ways to even optimize those hormones that you don't have to take controlled substance like testosterone, synthetically, or even the bioidentical one. Now, again, I love hormones too, so I use them all the time. But like for you, when you've had a bad experience, then let's try more natural. Let's increase that DHEA naturally. Let's try some of the essential oils like the Rocasa brand that is all natural to help boost your own naturally. And then if it doesn't work, then we have other avenues too. But for a lot of us, those natural things do help. And so I'm here to empower you. And by you knowing your numbers and understanding what we're doing and why, that helps you want to feel more confident that, hey, there's going to be data changing, not just that I'm going to wake up better and I'm going to feel more rested. But in 3 months, we can always recheck those labs and see, did they improve? And how are we sleeping? How is our energy? How is our joint pain? How is our gut? All of those things, to know that what you're doing is worth it, instead of just saying, well, I read on the bottle it's good for hair and skin, and now, oh, I don't think it's working. Well, did you need that? You might not necessarily need that. Maybe you needed something else.
So, but that's really what I like. Again, I say it at the start. When I went to see you, I found you on Google, but then I was so exciting. And when I went to see you, I really felt that you were there to listen to me, to listen to my needs, and because I'm very sensitive. For me, I take 2 Tylenol and I sleep like if I take a pills, for that. So I'm very sensitive to everything. But you were there listening, and you didn't judge, you did nothing. You bring me what I need, and you bring me in the right path for my health. So thank you again.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And so if people wants to connect you, for sure, I will put all your information under the podcast. But can you, like, what is the best way to call you or to have an appointment with you?
So I would say the easiest is, of course, call our business phone number or text it. We do have social media, and that's Straight to You Wellness, just like our website, and it's straight with the number 2 and just the letter U in wellness. But ultimately, calling us, because we are horrible with social media, as far as checking messages. And so, if I don't respond to you within a day, that's typical. But I'm getting better. That's why I'm here, Kathleen.
Yeah.
But the easiest truly is calling the business line and then just learning what we're doing. And, feel free to, even if you've had labs, bring those and let us just talk about them, or over the phone, or we can do a Zoom, whatever's best. And we are a medical clinic, so we have a medical record. We do the videos through the medical record so that it's all privacy and HIPAA. And all of those compliant. And so, but you can always feel free. The best would be calling the business number. So.
So that, or like for me, I took really, like I went on your website, and I was so exciting when I saw that, oh, I can take an appointment online, and there was something very fast. So
Correct.
that's what I did.
Exactly. You can do that too.
You can do that too, and it's really easy. So I thank you.
Well,
thank
you.
you so much. And I will do the cold plunge.
Cold plunge. Coming soon.
I will do it, but I will do the other things too, to relax, not just the cold water. So thank you again.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
It was my pleasure, and I really hope that podcast will, open mind to someone, because to talk about it, to see like when we get older that our body change, that maybe we need to look what it is, and that you are there to find someone like you. It's a blessing for me anyway. So
think about like your horses. When you see them limping out there, even if they're 3 years old, you don't want them to feel like they're 3 years old. So what steps did you take for your horse to feel better? Because those probably are in the human world as well.
Yeah.
So why are we not doing it?
Yeah. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your time with me. Please make sure to follow, like, share, subscribe on all my social media, and don't forget to leave me a review. If you want to learn more about me, visit my website, horseconfidence.com with a K, where you can also order my book.